Freedom Ain't So Free, Part 3. So I remember waking up in the morning the next day after the incident with me getting punched in the face in the Armada. And my world was completely different. What felt secure at one point didn't feel secure. What felt, even though my marriage at this point was broken, it was more broken now than it ever had been. And I just remember like my husband getting up, and he had a DJing gig that day. And I remember him getting up, and I was terrified with every single move. I remember waking up in absolute tears. I remember crying that morning, so much so he didn't even realize it because my back was to him, but it was almost like I couldn't breathe. And at this point, I'm a pastor, so I still have to minister to people through my hurt. I'm a mother, so I still have to feed my children and take care of my home. I'm still his wife, so I'm balancing between, being that loving, safe space and being scared to even speak to him at this point. And so he goes off to his gig, and something in me broke, and it said, I'm suffocating. I need to leave. He did not take accountability for his actions. He did say, he did apologize, but he didn't take accountability for his actions. So at this point, I called my spiritual daughter at the time and said, listen, I don't know what to do. I have to go. And I called another friend of mine that lived in South Carolina as well. And I couldn't do anymore. It was like I had to leave my husband. So at that point, one of them called the police. The police came over to the house. Now, here's the kicker. The police came over to the house. The incident did not happen in the house. It happened in the truck. They interviewed my kids. My kids said, no, we didn't see anything, but we know what happened. Daddy punched mommy. My son said, my daddy hit my mommy, and I'm mad at him. And so, the cops were very clear, and it was in the report that the kids saw nothing. I need you to hear that part, because that's an intricate part of this story, that the kids saw nothing. They were nowhere around. They were actually in the house with my oldest daughter, who at that time was of age to be able to babysit her younger siblings. And I was out with my husband, riding home. And so the cops came, took the report. I will see you in the next video.